Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio. My name is Greg, and the name of my show is Spiritism, Healing, and Meditation. This is show number 24. Kardec Radio is enlightening our souls, nourishing our souls 24 hours a day, with over 4,000 podcasts found on SoundCloud, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube. You can download those onto your app and take it on the go. We are all volunteer-based here, so your donations are welcome. You can send your questions to kardecradio.com. There's a place to ask for questions, be answered, and we'll be glad to answer those for you. So we'd like to connect with the spiritual mentors before we start our readings. And so if you can, at this time, close your eyes. Dear Heavenly Mother, Father, Divine God, Master Jesus, Mother Mary, and the good spirits of Kardec Radio, thank you for guiding us. Thank you for these blessed readings we are about to read. Please inspire the listeners. Please inspire the speaker to speak truth and to find depths of knowledge hidden in the words. Please open us up to love, to kindness. Please open our hearts up and let us find God living in our hearts. And may we take this with us at the end of this show. Thank you. And so be it. So we are continuing to celebrate on Kardec Radio, the 175th year of Leon Denis. Leon Denis, as you probably know, is the one who took over for when Allan Kardec disincarnated, and he continued the Spiritist movement there in Paris. And we're going to be reading a selection from his book, After Death, a beautiful book, and I've chosen chapter 51, which is on prayer. And I would like to read those to you. They're very, very inspiring to me. And he starts out, prayer should be an intimate overflowing of the soul to God, a solemn conversation, a meditation, ever useful, often fruitful. It is the supreme resource of the afflicted and of those that are faint at heart. In hours of depression, of dark despair, who has not found in prayer some measure of calmness and comfort, some balm for his wounds? A mystic communion is established between the suffering spirit and the power it invokes. The soul lays here its anguish, its weakness. It begs for strength, help, and indulgence. Then, in the sanctuary of conscience, a mystic voice replies, the voice of him from whom proceeds the strength for the struggle of this world, the balm of our wounds, the light that dispels the night of our uncertainties. And this voice comforts, persuades, uplifts. It fills us with courage, submission, and stoical resignation. Then we rise, feeling less sad and less depressed. A celestial beam has shone upon our soul, causing a tiny seed of hope to germinate therein. There are some who scorn prayer, deeming it commonplace and ridiculous. Either they have never prayed or have not known how to pray. Of course, if by prayer they mean the mechanical muttering, paternosters, recitations as vain as they are interminable, and all such numbered speeches, mumbled by the lips, but in which the heart plays no part. There may be some truths in their criticism. But this is not prayer. To lower prayer to formulas which one measures the length of it becomes a profanation, almost a sacrilege. Prayer is uplifting above all earthly things, an ardent call, an impulse, a beat of the wing, a determined flight towards those regions where the rumors of febrile agitation of a material world do not enter, wherein the being may find the inspiration it craves. The stronger its impulse, the sincerer its appeal, the more distinct and the clearer will be the revelation of the harmonies, the voices, the purity of the higher world. Prayer is like a window opening upon the unseen to infinitude, through which the soul perceives 1,000 sublime consoling impressions, with these it become impregnated, intoxicated, and from them, as from a fluidic bath, it emerges invigorated and regenerated. In these conversations of the soul with the supreme power, let not studied thoughts or words be used. The language of prayer varies according to the needs and to the state of mind of him who prays. It may be a cry, a moan, an outpouring, a song of love, a tribute of adoration, an introspection, a self-examination held under the eye of God, or again, it may be only a simple thought, a memory, a heavenward glance. There is no hour for prayer. It is well, no doubt, to lift one's heart towards God at the beginning and at the close of day. But if you do not feel disposed to pray, do not pray. But again, when your heart is touched or swayed by some deep impulse, be it by the edge of the great waters, by the light of day, or beneath the starry vaults of night, when surrounded by fields of leafy groves, or alone in the silence of the forest, little matters how or when the cause is a holy one that inclines the knee to bend, brings a tear to the eye, and fetches from the heart an anthem of love, a cry of worship addressed to the eternal power which guides your steps even upon the edge of the abyss. It would be a mistake to suppose that we might obtain everything through prayer, or that its efficacy is great enough to turn from us those trials that are inseparable from life. The law of immutable justice could not be swayed to swing our whims. Some prayer for riches, oblivious of the fact that to be wealthy would be a misfortune for them, giving a free flight to their passions. Others want to remove the evils which are sometimes the necessary conditions of their progress. Removing them would render their lives sterile. On the other hand, how could God satisfy all the desires that people pray for? Most people are unable to discern what would be suitable and most profitable to them. In his daily prayer to the Eternal, the wise person asks not that his fate be a happy one. He does not beg to be spared pain, disillusion, or adversary, that which he does pray for is to know the law that he may better observe it. That which he craves is help from above, the guidance of good spirits, so that he may more worthily bear himself in the hour of suffering. And the good spirits listen to his call, but they do not attempt to deflect the course of justice or to obstruct the execution of divine decrees. Pitiful towards human suffering, which they too have known and endured, they bring to their earthly brothers and sisters the inspiration which will fortify them against material influence. They favor all noble and salutary thoughts, all the wholesome impulses of the heart, which, while uplifting the person, likewise preserves him from the snares and traps of the flesh. The wise person's prayer uttered at a moment of deep meditation, which precludes all self-preoccupation, awakens in him that intuition of duty, that high sense of righteousness and justice, which will carry him through the perplexities of life and will attune him to an intimate communion with the great universal harmony. But the sovereign power does not only represent justice, it is also goodness, helpful, immense, and infinite. Why then should we not obtain by our prayers all that mercy can reconcile with justice? In our hours of distress, we may always ask for support. God alone knows what is best for us, and failing to satisfy our demands, God will at least send us fluidic assistance and resignation. When a stone strikes the water, its surface is made to vibrate in concentric undulations. So, likewise, is the universal fluid set to vibrating by our thoughts and prayers. But with this difference, the vibrations of the water are limited, whereas those of the universal fluid follow one another ad infinitum. All beings and all worlds are steeped in this element, just as we are in the earth's atmosphere. It results from it that our thought, when impelled by a sufficient impulse and speeded by sufficient will force, has the power to impress other, perhaps incalculable distance, souls. A fluidic current is thus established, which enables the advanced spirit to influence us and to answer our summons even from far depths of space. A similar action may be exerted by us upon suffering spirits. Prayer exercising an influence such as that of magnetism. It penetrates the dense, dark fluids that surrounds the troubled spirit and lessens their sadness and dismay. It is a luminous arrow piercing the darkness. It is a melodious vibration which expands and rejoices the oppressed spirit. What comfort it must convey to such spirits to feel that they are not forsaken, to know that some human being still cares for them. Sounds, at once mighty and gentle, arise like a chant through space and resound the more intensely as the lips from which they proceed are the more loving. They reach them, and greatly are they touched thereby. That distant, friendly voice is bringing them peace, hope, and courage. Could we but estimate the effect produced upon these unhappy spirits by the ardent prayer projected by a generous and energetic effort of our will, our voice would be unceasingly raised on behalf of the disobsessed and forsaken creatures of space, those whom no one remembers and who are, for the time being, steeped in the gloomiest despondency. To pray for unhappy souls, to pray with fervor and love, is one of the most efficacious forms of charity, one which all may practice, for any one can facilitate the spirit's release and shorten the period of perturbations through which it passes after death, affecting this by the wave of warm thought, by a kindly and affectionate remembrance. Prayer facilitates the disintegration of the body. It assists the spirit to free itself from the gross fluids that unite it to matter. Under the influence of the magnetic waves projected by a powerful will, torpid increases. The spirit again becomes conscious of itself and regains its self-possession. Prayer for others, for friends, for the sick and the unhappy, when it proceeds from a well-intentioned heart and a sincere faith, may also be of good effect, even when the laws of destiny are opposed to the accomplishment of its objects. Even when the trial must be undergone to the bitter end, prayer is never useless. The salubrious fluids with which it is charged, accumulate to overflow at death into the perispirit of the being prayed for. And there's a quote here from Acts. Gather you together to pray. It was the apostles' injunction. United prayer is like a sheaf of wills, of beams, of harmonies, of perfumes, and ascend with multiplied power towards its objects. It may acquire an irresistible force, one capable of uplifting and upheaving the fluidic masses. What a lever is for the earnest soul, who imparts by a mighty impulse all the greatness, purity, and elevation it possesses. When the spirit is in this mood, thoughts gush forth like an impetuous torrent. In great and mighty emanations, the soul has been seen, when engaged in prayer, to free itself from the body and the vivid ecstasy to follow the burning thought which it had cast as a forerunner into space. The human being has within him an incomparable motor from which he knows how to obtain but a trifling energy. In order to operate this motor, two things are necessary: faith and will. Prayer, thus considered, loses all mystic semblances. Its object is to obtain neither favor nor indulgence, but spiritual elevation and communication with the superior fluidic and moral powers. Prayer is a thought tending towards righteousness, a luminous thread which connects the dark worlds with the divine, the incarnate spirits with the free and radiant souls. To disdain prayer is to despise the one force that interposes itself between us and the clash of material interests and passions, which lifts us above transitory things into that which is fixed, permanent, and immutable in the universe. Instead of rejecting prayer because of the abuses committed, in its name, it is not better to use it with wisdom and discretion? At the end of each day, before seeking our rest, let us look into ourselves and carefully scrutinize our actions, unreservedly condemning those that were bad, so as to prevent their repetition, and rejoicing over whatever good and useful things we may have done. Let us ask the supreme wisdom to help us realize within and around us a moral and perfect beauty. Let us lift up our thoughts as far above the earth so that our spirit may speed joyously and lovingly towards the Eternal One. From this elevation, it will return to earth with courage and boundless patience, which will lighten its burden of duty and its labor of perfection. If, in our powerlessness to express our sentiments, we feel the need of a text, then let us say, and there's a quote here from an extemporary prayer dictated by the intermediary of spirit rappings by the spirit of Jerome of Prague to the workers' reunion at Le Mans. And the prayer is thus: Lord, thou who art great, thou who art all, let fall upon me, who am so small, and who only am because it is your will that I should be. A ray of your light, ordain that, penetrated by your love, righteousness should seem easy and evil abhorrent, that, animated by the desire to please you, my spirit may overcome all obstacles to the triumph of truth over error, of fraternal love over selfishness. Ordain that in each fellow struggler I should recognize a brother just as you see a child in each of the beings which emanate from you, but to return to you. Grant me to love the work which is the duty of all that dwell upon earth. By the light of that torch which you have placed in my hand, enlighten me as to those imperfections that delay my progress both in this world and the next. Let us unite our voices and the voices of space, wherein everything is worshiping and everything is rejoicing with the joy of life, from the mote dancing and the sunbeam to the great star that is afloat in the ether. The worship of the beings formed a prodigious volume of harmony that fills space and ascends to the Maker of all things. It is the anthem of the children to their Father, the homage rendered by the creatures of the Creator. Question nature in the radiance of sunny skies, in the stillness of starry nights. Hearken to the great voice of the sea, to the sounds that arise from the desert's airy bosom, and from the cool depths of the woods, to the mysterious murmurs that proceed from beneath the foliage, that allow themselves to be heard in mountain gorges, that are exalted by valley and plain, that escape from mountain heights, and that extend over the entire universe. From every hand, if you listen devoutly, you may hear that wonderful hymn of praise that the earth is singing to the Great Spirit. Still more solemn is the prayer of the worlds of space, the grave, deep chant which causes the immensity to vibrate, and all which the spirits alone can comprehend with sublime meaning. And that's the end of prayer by Leon Denis. We thank you for such a beautiful message, a sublime message of hope and of clarification of what prayer truly is. A humble conversation with God, and sometimes just a feeling. We thank the good spirits for this beautiful message, of which no commentary is needed. A reflection on it is a meditation in itself. We thank you, dear friends, for joining with us and listening. And we invite you to the second part, the meditation and the healing part of this program. Thank you, dear friends. Happy New Year. May the blessings of God always be with you. And be well. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Purifying the heart and mind before a healing prayer, as described by the Spirit Father Eustachio, who was a healing medium when alive on earth. This through the hands of psychography of Chico Xavier. Repeat after me, silently or out loud. Visualize the person or people who have hurt you. Look into their eyes and say to them, I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. See yourself hugging them. Visualize the people you have hurt. Look into their eyes and say, I am sorry. Forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Visualize yourself hugging them. Now visualize yourself as a small child. Look directly into your eyes and say, I forgive you. I love you. Thank you, dear soul. God loves you greatly, more than you are capable of knowing. The healing prayer. Repeat after me, silently or out loud. Dear God, please use me as an instrument of healing to cure this infirmity. I have faith in you and know that all things are possible with you. Please free me from all thought of pride and selfishness, which may alter their purity. I humbly beseech you to permit your good spirits to concentrate their beneficial fluids in me, so that I may bring about health. Let us visualize a shower of God's healing light being poured over the diseased or damaged area. Sustain this image of light, healing, soothing the damaged or diseased part. This light of God coming through Jesus and the good spirits restores balance and reinvigorates health. See this light not only healing the physical vessel, but the paraspiritual body. See the cells coming alive with new joyous energy, happy to be part of God's plan and carry out this holy work. See this loving light of God pour over our entire spark of God we call the soul. See each cell be enlivened in vigor and health. May this heavenly divine light elevate us to learn from this mistake that caused the disease. May it infuse wisdom and discernment so that future thoughts and actions do not cause harm to myself or any other dear soul. See us healthy, happy, vibrant, glowing in divine light, a heart full of love and acceptance of all. Thank you, Holy God. Thank you, Blessed Jesus. And thank you, good spirits that are sent by God for this healing. Thank you for this healing. Thank you. Thank you.